15 seconds into this. We could have made this a very short podcast.
Well, thanks for showing up, everybody. Click. Put your fucking dicks. Stream has ended.
I think some musician did that. He went out on stage and did something and then just left. That was it. That was the entire concert.
That was the show.
That was the entire show. There was lots of hoorah about that.
I paid $40 for this.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
I wonder who that was. It actually happened, so it's not something I made up.
Well, you say that, but this is
there was a big hoo-ha on the news about it. I remember when it happened years ago that he just went out. I think he went out and performed a song and then left.
Wow. What a jerk.
That's what I thought. I was like, man, I'm glad I didn't pay for that, because they were talking about how, people probably wouldn't get their money back because he did perform.
He did perform. That is correct. Technicalities. Gotta love them. Howdy, folks. Dane V. Welcome.
Other potential people that have not commented that may indeed be listening, because it says there's 4 of them.
It lies. There's actually
20. 2 of them are probably your mom.
No, 3 of them are my mom. Well, 3 of them are my parents' house, probably. But that would mean, no, that doesn't make sense. I don't have to think about this.
Matt's joined us, so.
Matt from the UK has shown up. And now you may eviscerate me for my accent, because that was awful. My attempt at an accent.
And Aaron has joined us as well.
Howdy, 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 howdy. Terry,
have
you gotten any rain this week?
Yeah, got a lot of rain. Had a flash flood warning for a couple of hours. And then after the flash flood warning, the power went off for 2 hours.
Oh, nice.
I'm like, really? The storm's already over, and now we have the power outage?
Yeah, it sounds about normal. This is Texas after all.
My wife keeps talking about getting one of those whole home generators.
My parents just had theirs installed.
I just can't, work myself up for something like 30 grand with the installation and whatnot.
A lot of money. Holy crap. But my father said we are never going to freeze to death in this house again. Ever.
Yeah. That's why we bought a bunch of firewood.
Yeah, my father refuses to burn fire in a Texas fireplace because, it's just that way. Anyway, yeah.
Well, my firewood pile is cheaper than his whole home generator.
This is probably true, but you're also not 82, so it's.
This is true. One of these days, I'll end up giving in to the wife's desires on that, and we'll end up buying a generator and having it installed. And then the power will go out, and everybody in the neighborhood will be like, "Why is their lights on?"
That happened here when Ike tore up the electricity for 2 weeks. We had a neighbor down the street who had a humongous home generator in there, so people would take their phones over there, and he'd charge them up. And if somebody had stuff that was in the freezer, he'd take them, put in his, and let him come back and go for it. It was kind of crazy. People were charging everything with their trucks and cars and anything you possibly your paws on. It was nuts.
Dean says, meanwhile, in the UK, a drought has been declared in Cineworld, the second biggest cinema chain over here. Looks like it's going bust. I heard about it, the bankruptcy on that. And aren't they the ones that own Regal? I think I read that they own Regal, the Regal chain. So I might be wrong on that, but I would not be surprised if they were not the last to go out of business as far as movie theaters go. And J.R. Hanley's here declaring himself the emperor. So where's the ban button?
Interestingly enough, somebody left a post on our last show.
Oh, whoa.
Left a comment on our last show asking why we hate JR so much. Now,
do we need a reason?
I was going to say before you interrupted me that I would not discount the fact or the possibility that person actually is J.R. Hanley talking about J.R. Hanley. So
wait a second. Are you saying that JR may have sock puppets defending himself on the internet?
Yes, that is exactly what I'm saying.
I think that's a great rumor to start.
Well, for the first thing when you say that is people are going to go, who the fuck is J.R. Handley?
Now we need to go ahead and create some other sock puppet accounts that go out and talk about how sexy and virile he is.
Oh, God. Yeah, nobody will believe that. Welcome, JR.
JR was in the Army, and, you know, as somebody that was in the Army, I've lived to give him crap. And this is simply that. I like JR. JR is a great guy, but boy, is he a fine target to be firing off my wit at.
You have wit? When did that happen?
Maybe it's only half charged. It's a half wit.
It's a half wit. That sounds warrior speed. Or at least the speed of the show. Well, what the hell happened to you this week? What have you been doing?
Wait a minute. Wait, hold on.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
As someone that Veronica says, going to give Chuck Tingle a run for his money with some JR fanfic? ? I was like, well, as somebody that started out writing erotica, I could indeed do that. You know, I could dredge up something out there and throw some dinosaurs into it, and there could be some, I don't know, some dinosaurs pounding dinosaurs or whatever.
I took my headphones off so I can't hear you because you put erotica and J.R. Handley in the same sentence, and my mind went somewhere. Why did you do that? Why did you do that? I'm not sure I'm ready to listen to you again. I'm not sure I'm ready.
You shouldn't be.
It hurts.
It's a trick.
It really fucking hurts.
You shouldn't put it on. You shouldn't. You know why JR doesn't have sock puppets?
Why?
Because he does unspeakable things with socks. And Vaseline.
So what we're up to this week? Why don't we talk about our lives and catch up for a second before we start?
Oh, there we go.
Taking this
we know we've hit the right spot when Dean says,
oh, fuck. I'm going to try this one more time. And then I'm just going to remove you from the stream and do whatever the fuck I want.
Okay.
How was your week? God
Busy.
damn.
I've been writing a lot this week. I think I'm at about 68,000 words in the novel, aiming for 120,000. So I'm on a good course. I'm happy with where I'm at, even though, like we said in the pre-show, I think everything I write is crap until, you know, I get finished with it. So my taste just tells me, ignore it. Just write it, fix it in post. Had some cat drama.
You were having cat drama and trauma during the pre-show.
Mr. Romeo decided that he had had enough of Mr. Castor and went ahead and went after him. There was some cat squalling and cat pounding. So Mr. Romeo has been ejected from the upstairs and is now residing downstairs, which is causing all kinds of chaos.
Terry lives to cause chaos. That's pretty much what you do, man. Okay, we've already won for the day. Time to shut the stream down. Veronica has admitted she both spilled her coffee and nearly snorted it. So we are ahead of the game now.
With all the crap that I've talked, I have absolutely no idea what I might have said that was the trigger for that.
I don't know. Yeah, Xander, you probably do need a drink. Click in and not hearing about crusty socks. Okay, we're going to ignore that topic. The whole sock puppet thing. Nobody wants to see you in spandex, JR. Trust me on this. Why are you asking that question even aloud? Do you actually listen to the things, the voices, the words you're going to say before you say them, or you just deal with them afterwards?
I'm not sure that he deals with it at all.
Of course it was corpse coffee. We don't do anything else. Tried snorting sweet and low once, heard it was like doing Diet Coke. Oh my God. I am at 64,000 words on Extinction.
Woohoo!
Yeah. We're about, I guess, 2-3 more scenes. I should be finished with the second part of it and get ready to go into the third part. And I still haven't written the first part yet.
And so we'll never get to the damn island.
Shut up. So I got 63,000 words of basically what amounts to book 2. If you think of this novel as split up into 3 parts. So, yeah, all of that's happened there. I haven't started book 1 and book 3. Yeah, I think I know where it's going and how bad it's going to get. I just don't know how many words it's going to take to do this. It just kind of depends on how long I want to prolong the inevitable or postpone the inevitable. Nah, I got fun. I got fun things to do. I get to go crazy because this is the final book. It's all stops are gone, baby.
That's right. You got to wrap it up now.
Well, the title should wrap it up. Extinction. That's pretty, doesn't leave too much doubt. You know, humankind's fucked. It's the way it is.
And at the end of the book, no one lives.
I have not written. No, that's not true. I have written that book. Anyway, I got interrupted yesterday because I had to start doing some contracting work on software stuff, which is good because I need that work. But I'll get back to writing everything again. So I've been pretty damn prolific. I got 6,000 words one day, I think.
I've been hitting 5,000 words a day most days this week, so I can't complain.
And I think there were 2 days where I didn't write as much because I was going back and fixing things and then doing research. So it was kind of a crazy week for that. I've had to do so much freaking research for this, and still I don't know anything. It's amazing.
Veronica will be pleased to know that I'm about to introduce a new. In fact, I just today introduced a new character into this book that's going to be Captain Breckenridge on steroids.
As Matt says, can summarize book 3 in as many words. We're all fucked. Yeah.
Yeah. You know you're in a bad state of place when Paul sends you a text message going, "Yeah, I'm about to get to your house."
I just send you a text with a picture of your front door and my shadow.
Veronica says she hopes that I torment him immensely. Well, I think it's more along the lines of he's going to be tormenting my main character for a while.
So much hate for these characters. God.
I'm like, Breckenridge, he's going to be a vice admiral. Actually, I think he's going to be a rear admiral.
Okay, continue.
Those are ranks.
I'm not saying they're not ranks. It just, I'm 5. Leave me alone. He said rear.
Maybe you'd be the rear admiral with Uranus. Oh, is that where you wanted to go? Is that what you needed?
That's not really where I was trying to go, but that's where my brain went because it's stupid and immature because that's how this works. So
it's going to be fun because this character is different. For those that don't know Breckenridge, he was a ship's commander that was a real problem for my main characters in Empire of Bones for a while before he got himself solved as a problem. This one may be around for a shorter amount of time, maybe longer, but I'm going to have fun with him because I don't think he's going to be a problem, but I think there's probably somebody pulling strings behind him, and that's going to be fun. There's going to be a little intrigue.
There is no such thing as intrigue. I don't know what you're talking about.
I started off book 1 with a conspiracy. It's been a while since the conspiracy reared its head.
So you started off a book with a conspiracy? Really?
Well, there was a conspiracy in the book.
I feel like
I didn't start the book with a conspiracy. I started the series with a conspiracy that they haven't had a chance to come back and look at. So I think it's time that it came back to look at them.
Okay, listeners, here's what needs to happen. Airlock, problem solved. That's awesome. What I want our listeners to do is I want them to come up with a conspiracy theory about your books, about your writing them, what message you're trying to send, who you're trying to secretly position, who you're giving messages to about what they need to do in their lives. All that stuff is in your books.
Well, you see, the conspiracy is that I don't actually write my own books. They're written for me by Fiverr. Every chapter is written by a different person. And I just kind of mix them up. I don't even really give them a plot. I just, throw something out, and then I just take the various chapters and I mix them together and I publish.
Wow. That is amazingly cool. I wonder if that's how some of the TV shows got put together.
There's no telling.
What in the fuck is that?
What? Who said what?
Terry, they solved the AI system. Oh my God, this is just really bad. There's so many horrible things. I don't know why why do I bother talking to you anyway?
Oh, you were laughing. Don't even try it.
Back in space is not quick enough. Oh, well, see, that's where I thought he was going to go with this. That one. The conspiracy is that Terry isn't actually writing the books. The cats whisper into his ears, and that's why new stuff gets introduced when new cats enter the pounce.
It's why I can't ever finish, a series, because the older cats have departed the pounce, and now I don't know what to write.
There we go. Every 15th word in Terry's books is actually fjord, and the CIA have brainwashed us not to see it. It's the first step to global mind control through Amazon.
That's giving me some GURPS flashbacks.
Oh, God, GURPS. Holy crap.
Nord.
Wholesome fantasy do believe they are going to become cosmic horror stories and just haven't hit the inciting incident yet. I always wanted to write a Cthulhu romance myself.
Too many tentacles. It's only going to sell in Japan.
There is this. Okay, so you said the word Japan. I know I'm going somewhere with this. There is a video game series. Actually, I shouldn't call it a series. A video game genre now that is like a dating game where you're playing a person who's trying to date gods, deities, demons, people, whatever. So one of these games was basically you're trying to have sex with all of the elder gods.
At the same time?
No, that's not awkward. The same thing. Not at the same time, but behind it's very complicated. Markiplier did a playthrough of it. It was absolutely ridiculously, disgustingly gross. And funny as hell. So it's like when I started thinking about a Cthulhu romance, I was like, well, yeah, I guess I have seen that actually. It's not in that context. It's fucked up. Oh, Matt. No. Well, think of how old Cthulhu is. It's never too late to make your dreams come true.
And if you go insane, you won't have to deal with any of the consequences.
Cthulhu romance, but it is a polyamorous romance where each tentacle is sentient and has its own mate.
We've gotten back to the sock puppet thing, haven't we?
Not exactly, but we're kind of drifting near it. It's like this, gravitational field out there that's just causing all sorts of nonsense. I think more or less it's your fault. That's what I'm personally.
Everything else is. I can work with that.
So what happened this week in the world of writing?
Did it happen this week or did it happen
last
week before that? It's happened. It may have been less than a week ago.
I think it was less than a week ago.
Eric Flint, a author that writes for Bain, passed away unexpectedly. I know that he's been sick for a while, but they thought that he was going to recover, and it did not happen. Instead, he passed. And the consequences of that for some people have been pretty serious because he had his own press, Ring of Fire Press, and they decided with the death of him that they were ceasing operations immediately, returning the IP to the authors that wrote the stuff, and basically everything that was published on Amazon has been unpublished. And now the people that had been solely publishing through them are in a world of hurt because they've got to find a new publisher and go through the problems of getting those books re-uploaded and waiting for monies to begin coming in for them. So their incomes have now taken a pretty good hit.
And you're also assuming that they have the original source material that was used to publish the books.
Yeah, that's a great assumption because all of the people that worked for Ring of Fire have been let go except for a volunteer that is closing everything out.
Yeah.
So basically, poof, gone. In one moment, you've got a career. In the next moment, you've got a crisis.
Sounds like most of my software career. The thing that really, I guess, what you said when you first brought this to my attention last week was the fact that he hadn't made any kind of preparations or any kind of plan for what would happen if something happened to him, right?
That's what I heard. I can't speak to its truthfulness because this was secondhand information.
But it certainly seemed that for whatever reason, the way that Tangled, there was no way to recover from it.
Well, certainly not for Ring of Fire Press.
Yeah.
It raises questions because Ring of Fire Press was also, I'm not sure if it was just solely stuff that he was publishing. They may have had some type of agreement with Bain to do some stuff with them as well.
Oh,
I don't know about that.
Oh, well, regardless, this kind of brought.
Think about the poor buggers that have finished their novels, turned them in. They haven't been published yet. What happens to them? They get returned, and boy, good luck. You're on your own.
There was another press or two that also went bye-bye last week. It's just, it ain't been fun. It ain't been fun.
So what it brought up to our minds when we were talking about it is, obviously there are things that we should be doing as writers to prepare for our passing. Yeah. Obviously, when I kick the bucket, I'm not going to be worried about what happens next. Everybody that, I care about, though, I should be concerned about what I'm dropping them into.
I just already have it set up to where, when I die, just all of my stuff will just disappear. I'll just cease to exist. Everything. You will all forget I was ever here.
Welcome to the Dead Robot Society, where we've never had a co-host named Paul E. Cooley.
Yeah, exactly. There is no such thing. The estate planning stuff gets kind of scary because you have, if you think about your it doesn't matter whether it's music or words or, art, whatever you do, at least having some way to tell the court, tell the legal system, hey, the rights to my books go to here. This is what I want done with this, blah, blah, blah. At least have some sort of plan in place where somebody external can at least run things or manage them in order to get, cease the terrible tragedy before it happens of everybody else getting screwed. So it seems like it's kind of an important thing. And I think I think it's very important, especially if you're basically running a publishing company that publishing other people's stuff, even if it's just niche or boutique. Any kind of creative endeavor you do like that, you need to have a plan for it. If you look at in professional sports, for instance, was it the Broncos? I think it was the Broncos. Well, I can't remember which team it was. One of the owners died, and there was no real plan in place of how to handle the team. So the professional sports team was basically in limbo for years and lawsuits and everything else. So I ceased to exist, and it turns out Terry's been doing a Fight Club thing for years. Yeah, right.
The first rule of Dead Robot Society is we don't talk about Dead Robot Society.
Right. So if you have those kinds of things that you want, you should make sure that you have at least things covered. Make sure your spouse knows what to do, what some of these things mean about copyright. Do some research, at least put some stuff together. And just to kind of go along with, your will and all the other stuff that you put up there is just basically making sure that your work is going to be taken care of, or the people that you want to have the rights to it get the rights to it and get the royalties from it. So, I mean, that's kind of a big deal. I mean, you never know. One of your properties may get sold one day, or somebody may try and buy it. If there's no clear way to go through that, then your heirs are going to have issues with it. So
my wife knows what to do if need be. However, if both of us are gone, I'm pretty sure that the kids have no clue. And by pretty sure, absolutely certain.
Absolutely 100% certain. Yeah, estate planning wise, an LLC helps you there because of my TBI. Set up a corp. Yeah, ways to prepare for the untimely end. Yes, that is correct. So it's kind of all goes together. Since you already have an LLC, you're probably in decent shape.
Yeah, that would suppose that I use it.
Anyway, basically, we wanted to bring that up because we know there's a lot of creators out there who really got hard hit by some of these things that have been going on. So wanted to kind of bring that up. It's something we don't really think about. It's something you don't want to think about, but it is something you kind of need to think about.
I've been watching an author that was published by Ring of Fire Press talk about this. So I get to see his commentary on it. And it is obvious that this had not been something he had thought was coming. And now that it's hit, he's having to start a GoFundMe to try to get over the hump.
Yeah, that's not good.
And he still doesn't know where his works are going to go.
That is another thing I saw this week was some of those folks got their books were in the pipeline. It's supposed to come out, and then they were all just basically no. Everything that you had put together, everything. I mean, you already waited for a year and a half for your book to get published, and then it doesn't end up getting published, and now it doesn't have a home. Yeah, kind of screwed. Oh, yeah.
And they do. And I actually have the lifetime membership to look at some of those, and I need to do it. It's just, who plans on dropping dead? Apparently not me.
Well, why not, damn it?
Because whoever sees your own mortality. Now, if I'd have been in the health that somebody like Eric Flint was in, because apparently he's been in bad health for a while, maybe he should have been thinking about it a little bit harder.
Yeah, I'm thinking so. Good to see you, Mr. Murdoch. Some gaming company bought Middle Earth Enterprises?
It's true. Actually, I don't know that they bought Middle Earth Enterprises. They bought the rights to Lord of the Rings, the movies and that stuff. So they might be able to do some stuff with that. But I don't think they bought the entire thing. I'm not sure. I read the article, but I didn't really comprehend what IP they were getting their hands on. They bought it back in February.
Oh, so this is an older thing, older story, I guess.
4 or 5 months, so roughly.
Interesting.
Dean, it's not going to let you, Dean. It won't let you post the link.
You could probably post it in Discord, though. You can put it over there in Discord. It shouldn't be an issue. It just seems like it's getting weird. I saw something about there's a hardcover kerfluffle going on with Barnes & Noble.
A hardcover kerfluffle? I haven't heard anything about this.
I saw, I didn't quite understand what in the fuck I was looking at, but it looked like they weren't going to put hardcovers. They weren't going to stock hardcovers unless they were bestsellers.
That's now how I'm going broke.
How does a hardcover become a bestseller if nobody knows it's fucking there and nobody looks at it? And hardcovers usually get purchased at the bookstore, not by Amazon.
Have you seen the sales numbers now? To get it to be a bestseller, I think you only have to sell 4 books.
Ow. Well, New York Times bestseller, you just have to have an agent.
They just have to make up the numbers. That's what the New York Times does.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty much what they've always done. That's always what that bullshit has been. It does seem to me like Barnes & Noble I can't believe they have survived as long as they have.
I'm not sure they're going to end up surviving.
I doubt it.
we're veering off of the estate planning theme here, but what happens to that sort of thing if Barnes & Noble goes down? They're the last big chain of books.
Last big American one. Yeah.
Well, yeah, true. The last big American chain of bookstores. So what happens then?
Nothing
Amazon
changes.
all the way, baby.
Nothing changes. Barnes & Noble hasn't been a bookstore for over a decade. They've been a coffee shop.
Oh, that's where I go to buy my stuffed dolls and whatever the hell else I want to buy.
Exactly. You don't actually
book.
Exactly. You don't go there for books. You go there to drink coffee and look pretentious. You know, go to Starbucks.
Damn it. That's what I keep forgetting. I go there and I don't look pretentious.
Terry, you're not capable of looking pretentious.
I'm pretty sure I'm not.
Just hopeless. I don't know what's going to happen at that point.
There's my pretentious look.
Oh God. My hope is that we're going to see, I'm seeing more indie bookstores pop up around the Woodlands. I don't know how they'll make it. I don't know if all of them are niche or what.
How can you see any indie bookstores in the Woodlands? There's so many freaking trees. You can't see anything in the Woodlands.
I knew you were going to go there. I knew you were going to go there. Look, it's not my problem. It's not my fault that you don't have trees down in Cuba. Okay. It's not my problem. Not my fucking problem. Do not take your jealousy. Don't sit there and be persnickety and jealous about my trees.
Not jealous.
I hope that we will see more indie bookstores open up like that. And I keep hoping that's going to switch at some point. I don't know if it will. It may just be that kind of thing is now in the past. And I think it already is for most people. And so, yeah, it makes me sad, but I don't know. I remember hardcovers fondly. I remember the riffle of the pages, how it was nice and heavy, had some heft to it when you're reading it. And, it was easy to prop up on your chest when you're reading in bed and everything else, but they're a pain in the ass.
They're a pain to store once you buy them.
Yeah,
that's
they're
for
a pain
sure.
in the ass. They're a pain in the ass. They're nice to have for like books that I want to have, like a copy of Neil Stephenson's Snow Crash or something like that, or Cryptonomicon. I have hardcovers of those. Those books are kind of important to me. I'll keep them around, but I would never buy a hardcover of just a book. It's got to be something that's pretty special because they take up a lot of space. And they don't get smaller. And they breed. Books breed. All readers know that books breed when we're not looking.
We're back to that Japanese Cthulhu thing.
Maybe, but maybe not.
With sock puppets.
Let's see. Hardcovers are a pain to read in bed. Paperbacks get damaged so easily, and Kindles don't smell like books. We're doomed. Okay, here's the $1 billion idea, Matt. Here we go. Here's what we need to do. This is what we got to do. I don't know how, but we'll figure it out. What has to happen is when you start your Kindle app or your reading app, whatever, even on your iPad, tablet, whatever, an automatic sensor gets triggered and it starts leaking out the scent of old books. Just basically distill the scent of old libraries, that book smell, that wonderful smell that we all missed from childhood. It just needs to mist out just a little bit every time. Or maybe the Kindle just needs to be put in this stuff for a little while so it always smells like a book. What do you think? What do you think?
I'm going to pass.
You're going to pass?
Veronica says they have candles that smell like that.
Yeah, I know. Yes, Dean, I'm getting that done this week. I'm going to coordinate with all you UK folks and get that shit going. So yes, we will get that done. I'm trying to save UK folks money by shipping at one time. It's just been kind of a pain in the ass to get it done. Reading books in VR just had smelly vision. I don't really think I want to read in VR. That makes no goddamn sense to me.
Have you ever done any VR?
Yeah, I've done a little VR.
Is it worth any of the hype?
If you have a lot of money, yeah. But it's still not going to be what they try and sell it as. Like the meta mess is such bullshit. It's just it's just a way to con investors as far as I'm concerned, kind of like crypto. But I mean, there's some cool stuff that can be done with it. I think it's going to get a lot better in the future, but right now the devices are expensive, they're bulky, and they're just not where they need to be. The scary part, instead of VR, I think the augmented reality, the AR, is much easier to realize. So that's going to be a totally different thing.
In an example of someone that's smoking crack, JR says, they've said crypto is grift for a while, but Bitcoin is flourishing. Bitcoin is down half its value. That does not smell like flourishing.
And thus far, there's been over $1 billion stolen. And
that Martin Shkreli guy just tanked his own cryptocurrency and dropped the value by 90% by cashing out.
Yeah. And JR, if you bought Apple in 1982, you would be very rich too. What's your point? Crypto is crap. It's garbage.
If hindsight was 2020, you could buy anything that was worth something and it would be worth something. You have to look at the way it is now. Crypto is not flourishing. It is struggling.
It is struggling hard. And it is the grift. Everything's a con. Everything's a con. That's how you can tell it's purely libertarian, because everything's a con. There's no regulation.
Wait,
all these people lost
hold
money.
on. Did you just say that libertarians are cons?
No,
What?
that's not what I said. I said it's the perfect example of a truly libertarian system, and everything turns into a con.
I personally think that if everything turned into a con, there would be a lot of ass whipping in the libertarian society.
No, I'm talking about libertarian financial. In other words, all the people who are all about crypto were saying it was all about freedom, no government, no interaction, nothing, everything's cool. The problem is everybody's a fucking crook. And so everybody is stealing everybody because there's nobody to lay down the law. It is a truly lawless system. There's no one responsible. No one. So if you think that's a good way to do business, have a good time. Have a good time. That's all I'm going to say. So what I need to say. Yeah, no kidding. I don't think that this is actually, mining crypto is currently not worth the electricity in the UK to do it anymore. I don't think it was really ever worth the electricity in the first place.
For a while it was. When Ethereum was doing it, apparently you could make money at it in the first year of mining it. There was a lot of money to be made. But you had to be Johnny on the spot.
Yeah, and you also had to have access to a lot of power. A lot of power. No, there will be no NFTs of the black. You know, strangely...
Tony, you're trying to set him off.
It's strange you brought that up, actually. I guess it was probably like 8 or 9 months ago. They contacted me about starting my own coin.
Paul coin
or shadow coin or something along those lines. It was like, it's a great opportunity to do this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, are you fucking kidding? Say planning for your sock puppeting tentacle press with cryptocurrency. Wow. I feel like I just walked into a Mad Libs episode. What the hell's going on here?
I should probably go down the stairs and, get that damn card game again, because it sounds like this episode is almost back there.
We're all over the place. Yeah,
we're all over the place.
That place. Well, that's what happens. We get talking, bad things happen.
Do we have anything more to add for estate planning?
Apart from the fact there are about 1,000 resources out there. You mentioned the Dean Wesley Smith and Catherine. Christine Catherine Rush.
mentioned it.
Yeah,
it wasn't me. Somebody else.
Jared Murdoch. It was Jared Murdoch. Since mentioned that, there's stuff out there that on Amazon or books or whatever that has all of that stuff. out there, I suggest you just look into it. Even if you're young, I suggest you look into it.
There's not very many cats up here, but I think I can get one.
You think you can get one? You just had to ask for cats. See, Shadow is currently laying on a pile of clean clothes. It's in a clothes hamper in the kitchen. And Luna is currently crashed out in the living room. So I'm animalless. Aw. We'll get that potty.
He is not happy at being picked up.
No, he did not look pleased. He did not look pleased. He didn't look pleased at all.
Well, see, part of the cat drama involved having to put Romeo downstairs. And I also, right before the show, tossed out Chewy McBiteface, tossed him down the stairs too. So that only leaves Mr. Thomas up here and the Gemini twins, and they're not very visity.
Not very visity. What does that mean exactly? Not very visity?
It means that they are still very not much for coming out of their hiding room.
Ah, gotcha. Gotcha. All right. Well, what else are you going to do?
It's going to take time.
Well, I'll obviously have to, work on getting Shadow back in here. Now that he's actually doing pretty good. He was very obnoxious this week and walked on my keyboard and was smacking my hands while I was typing, doing his usual cat stuff. So he must be back to normal. Had to drink without them. It felt wrong, but did it anyway. Yeah, that sounds about right. You and I had lunch.
It's true.
We had lunch and we were discussing stuff.
Yep.
We were discussing what books I should be writing.
We were discussing it, but I don't know that any kind of conclusion was made because you're very resistant to advice. People tell Paul, you should do this. And he goes, I'm a curmudgeon. Don't tell me what to do.
Oh, God. Terry seems to be, Terry is smitten with Terry being smitten with space opera. Terry is very smitten with space opera.
I am personally, but my advice wasn't to write space opera.
No.
My advice was to write something in a mainstream genre. That was actually in a mainstream
I can't believe you almost said that with a straight face.
I tried to say that with a straight face.
I can't believe you almost said that with a straight face.
It's hard to be provocative when you can't keep a straight face.
Oh, God. Oh, shit. That was too fucking funny. I don't know how to stay in a single genre. Are you crazy?
You just need to stay in a popular genre.
Oh, damn.
I don't know what the advice is for you. And what we were talking about during the lunch was Paul was saying that he's about ready to start writing something new. And I was advising him to start a new series that is something that may have a better chance of catching on with a wider audience. And my advice was that he does need to look at something that's more squarely inside a mainstream genre. And I'm not saying what you're writing isn't. That was being provocative on purpose. But
no, it wasn't.
you kind of wander a bit with the way you do it. You're very niche in the way you do things.
Wow.
And I was using space opera as an example. Some of the stuff you're writing could be considered space opera, but it's wonky when you look at the audience. And my advice was to pick something and actually aim for the audience expectations instead of avoiding them and subverting them. And I'm curious what everybody else would say.
V says, Paul's going to write some paranormal romance with those Mesopotamian deities. No.
That's because they're so popular.
The Mesopotamian deities.
I should go look and see what the #1 bestseller on Amazon in Mesopotamian deities is.
I'm not writing Black NATO. Go away, Murdoch. Ishtar in Love. I already did that. I started writing the first Tony Downs book. And I guess if you're not familiar with who that is or that world, he's a telepath. He's got quite a few issues dealing with the fact that he is what he is. And he happens to run into some things that shouldn't be there. And this leads into a lot of other crazy things going on, which I already know. I know V already knows what I'm talking about. My question, I guess I already talked about this, basically going back and setting this book back in 1995 for lots of reasons. Oh my God, Cat NATO and then sell it to sci-fi. No. Basically setting it back in 1995. Do you know how wonderful it is to go back in time and write something where there are no fucking cell phones? Stop it. Do you have any idea how wonderful it is to go back and write where there are no cell phones, where there's almost the average person doesn't have access to the internet or very little. And there's none of this instant information. Everything has to travel. There's no way you can warn somebody and call them in the car. All that stuff is gone. The most thing people had most prevalent was pagers, and that was it. Going back and writing in that time is fun for me because it's like it's unwinding, going back to my past and then taking a look at how things would have been had I, been in that area at that time, because I wasn't. But looking around how all that worked, the club scene that was going on in that time period, all the stuff that was going on in music, books, movies, whole 9 yards, 95, 96, crazy time. Going back there and writing, starting back there and writing that was just wonderful because you get rid of all that crap that is so difficult, makes things difficult for suspense.
Yeah, but then you've got young people that read it and go, why didn't you just go through Donner Pass and starve to death?
Oh, fuck them.
Take your drawn carriage and wagon and go across to the west. Why don't you do that?
I've seen a few movies the last several weeks that were set in the 70s. Black Phone is set in 78 or 79, I think, and X, which I just watched, which was wow. If you're into horror movies, yeah, go check that one out. Actually, go check out both of those. But they were both set in the 70s. And it was the first time that I'd seen a modern movie that was made to be in the 70s. And the way that they did it and why they did it and the choices they made were very related to the technology, I think. Oh, no. You know what? If I see a DeLorean, I understand they're coming back now. They're going to start rolling out new DeLoreans. I just saw the headline. I have no idea what the details are, but they said their new DeLorean cars are coming out. I don't know.
I hope they're electric.
Probably not, but it would be kind of interesting if they are. Yeah, why didn't you because mobile phones didn't exist? Exactly. Somebody's like, yeah, I was doing this and I cut my leg up really badly and had to go to the hospital. Why didn't you call 911? This was 1985. Nobody had a phone in their car.
Young people don't know the joys of going through the yellow pages to try to find a business.
Oh God, or key maps. Oh, that's just so many things. Well, they have hollow panels for my stash. That's a good point. If you're going to roll out DeLoreans, don't you have to have hidden storage compartments in the car, the car doors? Don't you have to have that? I mean, come on. Oh, yes. Let's see. Even with modern phones, if you're not in a covered area, which I'm sure we have bad service in large cities, let alone smaller towns and small towns outside cities like Woodlands and Kingwood. Yeah, this is true. Oh, I know. Let me fire a flare.
That would have been very popular back in the 90s and the 80s. The police would be very fun with that.
Anyway, it was just fun to go back to looking at how life was in the 70s, 80s, 90s. And it just made me go back on my childhood and go, wow, things are so bizarre now. I obviously would be totally different people if we grew up in the time of the technology now, but it's just so difficult to try to imagine how kids do stuff today, or even teenagers. It's just like, wow, it's just so fucked. Yep. So really what this conversation has told us is we're old. That's really what this is. We're old.
You know, this conversation has been so long and windy, I forgot what it started on.
I don't know. We're wandering around because Paul's hungover. That's why.
Oh, that's right. Around. Paul was trying to figure out what he's going to write next.
No,
and
Paul.
So he distracted us by telling us some weird story about the 90s that has nothing to do with writing a popular brand new series that's going to catapult him to the highest levels of best-selling author.
Oh, whatever. The reason why I brought up about the 90s is that is when this book is set. The first book is set. So pre-Closet Treats, but post-Hunt, for those of you who know my work.
So what would you suggest Paul write for his next series, folks? That's what we want to know.
Oh, dear God.
Because Paul obviously needs advice, and he won't listen to me because that's just how he rolls. So now you need to tell him what you think he should write.
Here comes Black NATO.
Well, yeah, that's already been suggested.
I mean, here's my question, I guess. All right. So if I got a telepath walking around, are we in urban fantasy?
Is urban fantasy even popular still? I thought it was having a crash.
It may have. I honestly don't know what genre that would even be these days.
Paul couldn't write lit RPG. He just couldn't. He would lose his mind trying to do the stat blocks.
I would go fucking crazy. I would fucking lose my shit. That's an interesting. Oh shit. That's an interesting thing. The honest answer is what makes money. I never made money playing music I wanted to hear.
You know what makes money? A 14-book series. That's what makes money. Whether it's space opera or something else, it takes time to build an audience. I think that one of the things that you do that maybe is not as helpful is not being a long series guy. Even excluding what genre to write in, long series are powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. But not all conceits lend themselves to long series.
This is true. Because in horror, basically everyone dies, and who the hell are you going to write about next?
All right, folks. Do I even really write horror? Come on. Am I really a horror writer? Am I Ed Loren? Am I Stephen King?
With a tagline that says, "We don't believe in happy endings," I believe the answer is yes.
Been my tagline for like 7 years.
Doesn't matter. I saw that as your tagline, and I've never forgotten it.
Oh my God.
It's true. Look at marketing. When you've got something snappy and catchy like that, how do you ever forget it? Once somebody associates you with something, it's hard to disassociate yourself with that.
It is whatever it is. It is whatever it is. It doesn't really matter. A lot of the people that were listening to podcasts and knew me back then, they either are still around or don't care. New people, they don't even know that was the thing. Most of those podcasts even have that tagline are gone. Like when I removed the entire Black series, holy shit, that was insane. No, I will not kill less characters. Try to write more standard lengths.
Do you write unstandard lengths?
I don't think so.
Come on,
you can't base anything on Derelict because Derelict was weird. All the rest of my series aren't really that long. I think they're basically 80 to 100K each. I don't really go over that much. Except for the Black. The Black, 2 of those books have gone over 100K. And I think Extinction is probably going to be 120. Maybe more. We'll see. somewhere in there. I don't write really long books. I write longer books than I used to, but not really.
I'm not sure that Paul is cut out for writing Marines.
No, I'm not allowed to write Marines. The military sci-fi community had a meeting, and they decided I'm banned from ever writing about Space Marines again. In fact, they sent a cease and desist order that I should cease any attempt to imagine any kind of military, because it does not match up to their high standards of what they think reality is 500 or 600 years in the future. So I will never write military sci-fi again, ever.
You should take one of those wacky, crazy historical novels that you love so much and update it for the far future and write it in space.
No.
You could have your own Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
No. My God.
An insane AI that wants to become human but has very grisly means of attempting to achieve it.
I need a foot for my new human. I will now go acquire it.
Whoops, wrong one. I love space exploration. Oh, look at that buddy. He's so cute. He's so cute. Well, was there a point for that? Was there a point to that?
You know, we're low on the cat quotient, so I had to go ahead and have another cat sighting.
God. This is interesting. Space fantasy, like Treasure Planet, Outlaw Star, and Space with Fantasy Magic shit. Got space whales?
It's a thing.
Space whales is a thing?
I've read a book that had space whales, yes.
Actually, if you read Derelict, there's kind of things like that already out there. But yeah, I understand what you mean. The second leg of or I should say the second series, the series that takes place after Derelict has a lot more of that kind of exploration stuff. So yeah, I would get a refund, JR. I just got the notice in the mail, several years ago that I was banned from doing that. So if you weren't at that meeting, you probably should.
I have got to stop reading things quick because I glanced over at that and then had to do a retake because I was pretty sure that he said there was a meeting of MILF authors.
I knew immediately that's what you thought you saw.
And I was like, I'm not sure that's politically correct to have, that grouping of authors. And JR is definitely not a member. If they were getting dues for you for that, buddy, oh, there would be trouble.
Jesus Christ. Oh, this is on the subject of AIs. If you try talking to some of the AI chatbots that are becoming popular, they are weird because they are learning from everyone that uses them, but tailoring to you. And most of them turn into raving lunatics, or at least have in the past. There's, I find the whole idea of us going to machine learning to come up with stuff very fantastically bizarre and disturbing. It's really cool. One of them out there is getting really good about putting together little stories and things like that. They are just bizarre. And they're kind of scary in a lot of ways because at some point they are going to get good enough to the point where a person's not going to understand that they're not talking to another person. That's when things get terrifying, and that's when I enter my little quantum personality disorder story and want to go write that again. And thanks for that, Matt, because now I have 3 other books I need to write at the same time while I'm writing Extinction. Thanks for that. I appreciate it so much. So much. Yeah, it's so much trouble. Oh, yeah. So I was looking at NLP for work and started talking to an AI called Replica, and she turned into a needy girlfriend in about 15 minutes. Oh my God. See, that kind of shit in the lab is kind of frightening because imagine what happens if you trained an AI in an experimental setting and then it got out. And you had trained it to do all sorts of bloody, awful things.
Then it becomes a Paul E. Cooley story.
You're right. It does become a Paul E. Cooley story. It absolutely does. So I guess my question still is a telepath walking around the streets of modern Houston, is that urban fantasy? What genre is that?
I don't believe so, because telepathy by itself is not enough to be urban fantasy. That's too narrow.
What else would it have to have?
You have to have a whole world behind the scenes that has telepaths and other things, so that the world has, everything behind the scenes that you can be thrown into. That would be urban fantasy. And it has to be a primary story element rather than just something that happens as part of the story. It almost has to be a character of its own. This world. The unseen world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then what else would you call it?
I don't know. I'm not sure that it has a genre, because if it's just a guy with telepathy, then it's a Stephen King novel. It's a world that has one weird guy.
This is the same world that Closet Treats is in. This is the same world Garrett's Inferno is in. This is in all that same world where all those monsters and things are running around in.
Then it sounds like Monster Hunter International. Talk to Larry Correa.
That's what JR said.
Oh, he did say that. That's funny.
He did say that, yes. Oh, I have so many other horrible things in mind for that. Like I said, Veronica has a pretty good idea what I'm talking about, I'm pretty sure. But and any of you who have listened to The Things I Do for Love, you probably have a pretty good idea where this is going. Yeah. That could be kind of crazy. No. Speaking of, HBO Max is removing all the episodes of Sesame Street. They're gone.
That's weird. Okay.
And they're getting rid of a shit ton of other shows. They're just going to disappear like they never existed. Nobody knows why they're doing this, but essentially they're fucking over all the creators who had the stuff and were making money off of residuals. And so basically they've removed all those episodes, and Infinity Train and several others. Yeah. So it's just like it's just crazy. I don't understand what the fuck is going on. I really don't. It was something that really got my dander up. But since you mentioned Sesame Street, that's what did that. Chuck says, I'll only become afraid of AI when they're actually create a generalized AI that can learn and play and reproduce on its own without massive training data sets. That's when we become obsolete. Yeah.
You know what? There is a book that I would recommend you to read if you want to see an example of old school urban fantasy that in a way reminds me of Paul E. Cooley type stories. It's called Grey Walker.
Oh, I know that book. I tried reading that book.
And you failed. Damn it.
I did not finish it, no.
It was kind of your spooky shit, ghost world stuff. Caught between life and death.
Yeah, I don't know. The problem I have with a lot of the urban fantasy is that it does deal with more of the secret world that you're talking about, but it doesn't seem to deal as much with the real world.
That's exactly right. Because in urban fantasy, you're not dealing with the real world. You're dealing with problems in the hidden world.
Okay. Then
the real world is not part of that story. It's something you're crossing through or hiding from to make that story.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm writing more. I don't even know what the fuck I'm writing. Tony Downs comes across stuff that shouldn't be there. And that some of that stuff that shouldn't be there has already shown up in some of my other stories. There. I said it.
Xander's talking about Roseland by Eric Ogland. And I haven't read that story by him, but I've been reading another story by that author where somebody from our world gets thrown into a fantasy world. And that's pretty amusing. His writing style is pretty funny. I like it.
God. Pulp trends? What do you mean by that? Bring back pulp trends. Good guys and the bad guys. I don't like good guys and bad guys.
Maybe he's talking pulpy style stories from the 20s.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. No, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, the good guys and the bad guys. Yeah, that's the one.
That's actually a book?
It's a series.
Oh, it's a series. Okay. I missed something. Is that ice? What the hell? What does this mean?
Aisaki is a specific kind of sort of lit RPG. It's a style of story that involves a specific storytelling. It doesn't have to be lit RPG. It can be a specific style of hero that can't have any sex in it and has to be high adventure. It's a very specific, very narrow style of storytelling genre. Now I'm gonna have to look it up and see if I'm right, because well, that's what I seem to remember.
Here's what it is. Well, let me make sure.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. Let's see if I'm even close.
Portal fantasy. Ah, okay. All right, I gotcha. Right, and that, I guess that is what lit RPG is, right? It's pretty much portal fantasies. Yeah, okay. Slice of life story, small adventures. Interesting. So that would be Alice in Wonderland. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, it's a Japanese genre of portal fantasy and science fiction.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting.
Revolves around a person or people that are transported to and have to survive in another world, such as a fantasy world, virtual world, or another planet or parallel universe. And shares a lot of common tropes, powerful protagonist, able to beat most people. Yeah. Sounds like a lot of the stories that I read.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I'm afraid to even ask what the hell this means. Who reincarnated you as a slime? Who did that? And why did they do that? Okay, so getting sucked into the portal fantasy. I guess I had heard that term before. I just didn't. Oh yeah, Grouchland. Yeah, I guess it is. I've never seen Grouchland. I've heard of it. I've never seen it. Okay, portal fantasies. You obviously like portal fantasies, Terry.
I do. A number of the stories that I read involve portal fantasies.
What is it about portal fantasies?
It's taking a person like myself and throwing them into a strange world. It's different from a fantasy novel because you're not a resident of that world. You have to discover everything on your own, no matter how wacky it is. That's one of the draws of portal fantasy, is because you're taking someone the reader can totally associate with and throwing them off the cliff.
So you get a character, and the character's figuring out what the fuck was going on at the same, and the reader's just as lost as the character is.
Exactly so.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's basically an exploration of something. Yeah, I guess never-ending story. Yeah, that works. That works. As long as it doesn't involve any tentacles.
I'm not sure. Is never-ending story really one, or is it just your grandpa telling you the story? I'm not sure that he actually went to the...
That's Princess Bride. Wrong movie. Never-ending story is not that. Never-ending story is the one where the kid is reading the book and becomes part of the book. It's not that you're thinking different movie. I think you are. Whole fish out of water appeal. Okay, yeah, Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court.
Yeah, that's portal fantasy.
Okay, makes sense. That makes sense.
You could even do a portal fantasy where you take somebody from modern day, freeze them, and thaw them out in the far future.
Wow, it's almost like somebody wrote that story before, and there were like several serials and TV shows made about it.
Yeah, what's the one that had Stallone in it?
Oh my fucking God! Why did you go there? We were talking about Buck Rogers, and you decided to go there?
Well, we were talking about how, you keep getting squicked out by Stallone. So how could I miss getting a chance to bring Stallone back into the conversation?
Okay.
Demolition Man.
If
there
you're
you
new
go.
here, if you're new here, you are probably unaware of Terry's horrible, awful, ridiculously Philistine taste in comedy, because he thinks Demolition Man deserves to be up there as a sci-fi comedy classic.
4 stars.
But only 2 seashells.
3 seashells.
Oh, it's 3 seashells. God. So,
but you're right.
Hopeless. Hopeless.
Buck Rogers is a great example of that kind of portal fantasy. And it's especially true if you read the books. The books are radically different than the television show or the movies. Radically different.
One Taco Bell. Yes, radically different. They would be. They had to be. Because didn't he get trapped in a coal mine in the original?
It's true. He got trapped in a coal mine and kept alive because there was something in the coal mine. Alien technology. Which that alien technology was important later on in the story. But it was very much a post-apocalyptic existence when he woke up, because mankind was being hunted on its own planet.
Are you hunted on your own planet, Terry?
Only if it's cats.
Are there rabid sci-fi fans hunting you?
If so, they haven't caught me yet.
I would think it'd be rather easy to catch you. I mean, not really, meant as an insult. I'm just thinking that maybe you're not too difficult to kind of,
I'm a little slow. That's what
you might be a little slow. You might be a large target for people. I'm just saying, I'm not saying I'm any better. I'm just saying that, if they were stalking you, I'm pretty sure they'd have caught you by now.
We'll have to see how this works in November. You'll have to see how I am amongst my public. Whatever that means.
Whatever this means. We really should have hired somebody to follow us around, with a video cam to see what kind of insane stupidity we get up to.
We could have our own film crew. I'm sure that wouldn't draw any attention.
Oh, yeah. It's not going to draw any attention at all.
We could also have our own, soundtrack. We're walking around with people playing that on the boombox.
Well, I would think that the two of us, because we can't shut the fuck up anyway, we'll probably end up recording at least one podcast episode there. That will probably happen. That's something we actually should do anyway. Find interesting authors and give them 10 minutes to give their spiel. Ask some questions.
Buddy, I got to tell you right now, you're going to be too busy for that shit.
Probably.
Just having conversations is going to eat up your time.
You say that, but we all know that I'll just sit against the wall and watch things.
So basically what you're saying is Terry has to drag Paul everywhere. Challenge accepted.
This is going to be so bad. November. Oh my God. November. Oh, November is going to be a whole bunch of stupid. Not just because of Vegas, but because of everything that's going on. 24 hours in life for a writer. Yeah, let me tell you something. People are like, what's your life like? Well, you see me here sitting on my chair. This is my life. There you go. What's a reminder that they reworked the script and left hints in that what's her name is his daughter in Demolition Man. What's her name? You'll have to be more specific.
Sandra Bullock's character.
Is his daughter?
And so then they added a romance to change it from daughter to romance, but they didn't quite scrub it clean, so it becomes a little icky.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's a problem.
There was a time travel one that involved that they reworked it to add romance in there. They changed one of the characters, and they had to go ahead and do a quick reshoot after they test screened it, because somebody didn't realize that the guy was going back in time and falling in love and mating with his own grandmother or something along those lines. And it's like, oh yeah, that's a problem. hold it. That's a problem.
If you've not seen the Futurama episode, All's Well that's Roswell, go fucking see that, because it is the most ridiculous time travel stuff ever. And it is so goddamn funny. It is just incredibly good. Incredibly good. No, we're not going to be in the author's room in your con. Not if it's in Britain. Yeah, the Futurama episode is the ultimate. That Futurama episode is just the best time travel ever. Just the best time travel ever.
Kate and Leopold. That's the one. Yeah. Kate and Leopold, they had to redo the thing after they did the screening because they inadvertently had the incest thing that they created.
That's right. Yeah. I remember that now. Yeah, it's kind of a problem when you change the script without really thinking about it. Isn't it kind of an issue?
Curse those implications.
Yeah. All You Zombies. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Yeah, the Futurama one is just too goddamn funny. Just too funny. You heard about it for years. Kate and Leopold. I haven't seen it. There's so many movies I haven't seen. I had a horror movie marathon last weekend with a friend of mine, and we got to see Get Out, which I hadn't seen. That was an amazingly good film. And then we saw X. I mentioned that earlier. Then we also watched one called Hypochondriac, and I'm still not entirely sure what the fuck that was. I haven't decided if it was a horror movie. I haven't decided what it was. It was weird. That's all I can say. Still not sure what the point of that movie was, but it wasn't too bad. But if you haven't seen Get Out, definitely see that. That is an amazingly creepy, horrifying movie. It is awesome. And X will just knock you in the head.
I'm going to go to Discord and drop the cover for the original novella for Buck Rogers, because this is so accurate for the story. Just because I want to do that. I'll drop it in the live.
Oh, you put it in live? Okay. Live channel?
Put it in the live. Yeah, there we go.
Oh my God. Armageddon 2419 AD. Mm-hmm. Wow.
And that shield with a gun in it actually plays a role in that, and the airships with the repulsor beams are part of it too. So that's actually a very accurate cover for the story that's in it.
Huh. Interesting. Times have changed, bro. So why haven't you put one of these types of covers on your stuff yet? Why haven't you done one of these? Don't these still sell? Don't people?
Because I love Spaceship Ass.
Because you love what?
I love Spaceship Ass.
Terry's all about starship porn. It really is. And every one of your books, do you have any books that you have personally published that did not have a spaceship on them?
Yeah, the post-apocalyptic one.
That's the only one.
That's the only one. Because the rest of them are in space. I mean, you got to have Spaceship Ass if you're going to have spaceships.
Okay, all right, fine. I'm just saying, it seems to me like you've got an unhealthy addiction to spaceship porn. What? Jesus Christ. I've heard of gear heads and diesel heads, but never quantum heads. Will you stop it? Get that off the screen. Oh, so hopeless.
You know what? Another weird one to read that's totally different than the story. If you read the, oh God, which one was it that had the Sandman in it?
Mr. Sandman, bring me a Logan's Run.
Logan's Run, that's it. The books are radically different than the movie.
Yeah, we talked about that. Where it's like, what's the age is 18 when they get killed instead of 30 or whatever it is?
Yeah, it's 18, and it's not only that, it's what goes on, because the story really starts at the end of the civilization, and it's in the world. It's kind of weird. The stories don't really take place in the city for the most part.
Right. I remember you saying that. Yeah, that's why the movie is so bizarre compared to that, I guess.
I really wish
point, I
they'd
guess
gotten
I'll
around to
read
doing
those.
a redo on that, because I would love to see what a retake of that looks like.
Oh boy, I bet if they went with that, they could have got, yeah, these days you go balls to the wall with that in so many freaking ways. So many different ways. Be very interesting. It's just odd. It's just odd. Yeah, I like Starship. I think it needs to be Starship and not Spaceship. I like big Starship arson. I cannot lie. Spaceship arson.
Have you heard the big butts that's done in the Picard voice?
No, I have not.
I don't know that I can find it again, but I found it and downloaded the MP3 of that. I like big starships and I cannot lie. It's all very ridiculous.
Somebody's asking us, how do you actually join the Discord server? Ah! Do people not know about our Discord server? Have you not been doing your job?
Wait a minute. I'm only on Facebook.
Exactly. There's nobody on Twitter, dude. I'm all here by myself pretty much. You're the guy who's on Facebook who has access to all those other people.
Chuck is your follower.
So?
Obviously, this is your fault. You have obviously lapsed.
You know, I give up. I just fucking give up.
Let's see. How do we pull the server ID out of that? How do we even do that? I know that I can't post a link, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'll get it to him. I used to pick up a lot of pulp sci-fi from authors I didn't know just because of the covers. Doesn't really happen anymore with ebooks. Yeah, Matt, I would say that is correct. The only reason I read or got into James Herbert when I was a kid was because I needed something to read on a bus trip. And it was one of the which book was it? I think it was Moon. I had never heard of James Herbert. I didn't know anything about him. It was a horror book, and I liked the cover, and that's why I bought it. And I enjoyed the hell out of that book, and also bought a couple more of his after that. But I would never have known about him had I not seen that book at the grocery store that was on the rack. I would never have found it if I'd gone looking for it in a bookstore. I probably would not never have found it. But because it was there when I wanted it, I ended up reading it, and it was excellent. It's harder to find books like that these days. I would agree with that, because the impulse buy does something. You don't, if it's an impulse buy, you just look at it, then you sit there and go, wow, you know, what the hell was I thinking? Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
How come he can post links and you can't? Well, you can post links. Maybe I can too, now that I'm logged in as that. I didn't realize that.
Now that you're logged in as me, as
now
God.
That I'm logged in as DRS.
As a host?
You know, as the host. Maybe now I can. I used to not be able to, so yeah.
That was good. Oh, here we go. Little off topic. Any thoughts on Sandman? Have you seen the Sandman, Terry?
I have not.
I have seen four episodes now, maybe 5. I can't remember. I think it's just 4. I think it's amazing. I think it's absolutely amazing what they've done. I think the acting is spot on. There's some things they had to change to kind of modernize a few bits here and there from the original comic. And I didn't read all the original comic. Only read a few issues, but it is amazing. I'm really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it. I think they've done a really good job. And the fact that Gaiman was so involved in it, you know, I think that speaks to why it's going to be successful. It was wonderful. Patreon, as usual, was completely unhelpful. Yikes. I think there's a lot of really good stuff that's coming in some of these realms and everything. I just really love I love the fact that Sandman and some of his other graphic novel properties that are really good as TV shows can be made as good TV shows, and people are willing to try it. So it's awesome to see that. It's just wonderful. Oh, well, any more updates on the Random House Simon Schuster kerfluffle bullshit?
What's Randy Penguin up to now?
Well, apparently, you know, that we should all get $100,000 signing, bonuses and shit because
anything less than that, that's the minimum advance, that they think is worth a darn.
Right. And the mid list is just the starter kids, the bad list writers.
It's the low list because they say mid list because they don't want to say losers.
Yeah, I don't want to say losers. Fuck those people. Okay, I have to go for one moment. Keep the kids entertained.
All right. See, while Paul's gone, we'll go ahead and we'll talk. No, we won't talk trash about it. That'd be good. I enjoyed Good Omens. I hear that they're going to have another season of it, which that will be interesting to see how that plays out. I hope they don't do a disservice to it like they did to Game of Thrones when they ran out of the actual story material and got to the end of the series. So let's hope that they can do some justice to Good Omens. What else we got to hear in the commentary? Da, 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 da. Oh, my new headphones. I picked up some from Corsair because I wanted to have ones that I could plug in a good mic. So this lets me plug in a microphone that I can use for dictation and not be chained to my desk. It was because my new computer wasn't recognizing the cheap Bluetooth headphone that I have been using for that. It works okay. I can't complain. It's not like Bose noise canceling headphones, but it's pretty good. I can't complain about that. I wonder what Paul's up to. Maybe we should make fun of what he's doing now. Try to speculate about where he's off to and what he's doing. What is it? Anniversary presentation. We don't ever get to see all the trash on his floor while he's gone. That's awkward. He probably shouldn't show us that. I was turning around, looking around, trying to find the Buck Rogers books on my shelf. I couldn't spot them, but I've got them up there somewhere. I need to reread it. It's going to be fun. I like old style science fiction pulp like that, but I'm really not really sure that kind of science fiction pulp really has a place these days, sadly, because I'm not sure that the younger audience would really get that kind of thing. What do you think, Paul?
I think that my shoes need to be replaced. I think that it may start raining soon and that Luna has finished going potty.
Yay!
Yeah, pretty much. What the hell were you talking about?
A number of things. One of the things we said is you should never get up again while the camera's on because we can see all the stuff that's on your floor.
Oh, that'd probably be bad. Well, shit happens. Shit happens. Paul is terrible.
Go ahead and you talk for a second here while I'm looking. I want to see if I can find my Armageddon book up on the shelf because I know I've got it sitting there.
It's just terrifying. You've been going potty for years? Well, she goes potty all the time, and she finished doing her business. That's all I'm going to say. Why is all this chat about headphones? What the hell have you been talking about here?
My new Corsair headphones.
Oh God. That's just frightening. Yeah, I need to reorganize my room. There's a reason why I have the camera pointed here rather than at the door. I need to get all this stuff just cleaned up and thrown away and all that shit. Oh, nice.
The sequel.
From an outline by Larry Niven and Pornell? Really? Wow.
When was this? When was the sequel published? Gosh darn. This book is ancient. I have really read the hell out of it.
Oh my God.
1980. And I probably owned it. I've probably owned it since 1980.
Huh. Interesting. Wireless is the way to go. Just don't forget you're on a conference call if you run to the bathroom.
You know what I like about the microphone that I've got here? It's got a mute button down here.
Yeah.
And the little ring around the end is red or green, depending on if it's on. So it's sitting right there in your line of vision, so you know whether or not you're actually on or not. Not that it's saved anybody, while I was actually on going to the bathroom.
Oh, things you hear sometimes on conference calls. Yeah, I remember I was giving a talk to Red Hat, and my friend was like, "Hey, let me check out what your room looks like." And he was like, "Oh, you might want to take the pair of plastic testicles down." It's like, okay. Somebody gave me a stress toy, a squeezy toy, but it's just a pair of testicles. I had that up there. Things you should not have up when you're trying to do business. Go figure. Reorganizing everything. If you did not, Terry's talking about my chair. Let's talk about his chair. When he moved his chair earlier, it was like paint buckets and shit back there and everything else on the floor. And where's the cat tree? You moved the cat tree.
I put it in the other room. I need to drag it out now that the cats are no longer in there. And
no wonder we're not seeing any putties.
I know, it's true.
There.
I'm looking in Armageddon 2014, and I see that it's copyrighted in 1962 by Teresa M. Nolan. Does that mean that she wrote it, or it was copywritten by his wife after his death? I don't know. That's interesting. Makes me wonder now.
That is interesting. I don't know the answer to that question. I've wondered about that. Say that I die, I still own all the copyrights of my work, but do I have to transfer those copyrights?
No, it's unless you do it by your will,
right?
It's whatever your estate is. Okay. But these were done back in the 60s, and the laws then were different. So I don't know for sure if he didn't explicitly copyright it. It may have been something that she did, or it may be this particular expression of it, because the cover says Philip Francis Nolan. So interesting to question it.
Can we just say this is an oops? Matt says, I used to use a head mount mic on stage, and the first time I used it, I turned away from where my mic would have been to say something unflattering, and it came out over the PA.
We've all been there.
We've all been there. We've all been there. That is not good at all. Well, do you folks have questions for us? Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, my God. Oh, that's bad. Dull fucking cow. Woo, that's harsh. That's harsh. That's really harsh.
Excuse me, sir. Would you like to expand upon that thought?
Expound on dull fucking cow. That just sounds...
That's where you don't let them go. You just go, yes, so please don't stop there. Please do continue.
Please do expound.
We're all listening.
We're all listening. Reminds me of Ted White in Caddyshack. Well, we're all waiting. Do you not remember that movie?
I do. I remember that scene.
Fuck Rodney fucking Dangerfield. Oh, God. There's so much PS4, P45 in the post. P45 in the post. What does that even mean? Yeah, there we go. When writing your first drafts, do you cycle back through like Dean Wesley Smith, or do you finish the draft and then go back through to start an editing pass?
I've tried doing Dean's cycling method, and it doesn't work for me. It breaks me. I have to go ahead and finish writing at least a chapter. I've done it both ways, where I'll write a chapter and then I'll go back and I'll reread it. And I've also done it where I write the entire book and then I go back and I just start from the beginning and do it. I like going back to the beginning of the book better than going back to the chapter. I write faster when I'm uninterrupted.
I don't really cycle the way he talks about, but I do. If that makes any sense.
You do something different. Yeah.
So typically what I'll do is I'll write a chapter, and I'll leave like a place for myself to start with the next day. So I don't have to stare at the empty screen. But if it's been a few days and I'm writing something that actually makes a callback to something I did, like a week ago or something, then I have to go and basically I will go back and I'll reread. Not the whole thing, but I may reread like a couple of chapters back to make sure I've got everything covered, or what was that thing again I did in chapter 5? Let me go check that. And then while I'm there, I end up going and perusing more of the doc, and I end up editing more of the doc before I jump back to where I am. It just all depends. But when I do that, I often get new ideas for whatever scene that I'm writing at the moment. And I think that maybe part of my brain just telling me, hey, you need to take a pause and go do this real quick so we can come back here when you're ready. I don't know. I don't know what my process is. I can't explain my process. Terry can't really explain his either. We just do. Yeah. But the editing draft, me speaking the story aloud is the best way to fix a story, edit it, find the mistakes and everything else. But the editing is where all the magic happens. Like Terry said earlier, he writes shit. I write shit too. And that's why we edit. So I think it just depends on what you get comfortable with. Basically next time you write a short story, cycle with it. Why not? See if it
doesn't hurt to give it a try. Might work.
Nope. You may get 3,000 words and go back and redo that 3,000 words and it turns into 4 or whatever. Who knows? It'd be interesting. I don't know. It's funny. When we go to Vegas, God, I cannot talk today. When we go to Vegas and, if we were to go with all those writers and ask them what their process was, we would get as many different answers as there are people there.
Yes. Guarantee
it. So yeah, you just got to find the process that works for you. And if your process is broken, well, try something new, because you can't break it anymore. That's already broken if it's not working. If it's not working, fix it. If it's working, don't fix it. That's my advice anyway.
All right.
I'm reading his comments. It's just some funny shit. What are you doing over there now? I hear you typing.
Now I've fallen down the rabbit hole of going, wait, there's more books in this series that I don't have?
Oh my God. So hopeless. How often do you read things off the various web serial sites?
I'm reading some now.
How often do you read those?
When they publish a new chapter, I check every couple of days.
Okay, so you're one of those people.
What should I do? I'm caught up. It's not like I can make them write faster.
You can't? Because there seem to be some people out there who think that's how that works. They just yell at the writer to get their lazy ass going, and that book will suddenly get shit out. There are some people who honestly seem to think that's how it works.
Yeah, it's true, but that's not how it works.
That's not how it works. Not at all.
I'm reading 2 serials on a free site, and I'm doing a Patreon serial because I wanted to catch up with where the story was. Now I'm one of those guys in the comments going, "Come on, can we get rid of the exposition here? Let's move along. Let's make something happen, guys. Come on." I've become that guy.
You've become that guy. Everybody has that guy, and you are that guy. Got it. Makes perfect sense. Yes, everybody has a different process.
Everybody has a different process, and the process is never static. They're always tweaking something to try to change how it works, with the expectation,
either consciously or unconsciously,
with the hope that it'll become better.
It's always like in software, there's the rule of 3, and I think it actually pertains to writing too, which is the first time you do it, you're prototyping, you fuck it up, you try and fix it the second time, and you make it even worse. The third time you come back and make it right. You have to make it wrong before you can make it right. Matt asks, how often do you write about personal peeves in your stories? I just wrote a rant between characters because the question started with, don't you think?
I should do something in one of my books. As you know, Bob.
As you know, Bob. Oh, God, please don't. How often do you put real life stuff in your books?
Seldom.
Seldom. Why?
Because it's not relevant.
You don't take stuff from your normal day life that is really stupid or something that happened and adapt that for your story every once in a while?
Usually not. Usually I'm busy, stealing things from stuff I've read 50 years ago so I can go ahead and stick that in instead.
I most definitely do put stuff about personal peeves in my stories, and I will do things with characters and make them people that I've met that just either I couldn't believe they were human or they were people who I just found absolutely hilarious. So I will put people like that in the books, and I will use some examples from that every once in a while. I drag things that happen in real life as little anecdotes here and there. I just modify them to make them more dramatic. But I usually drag some of my peeves in there too, and the peeves of other people I know. Everything is there. Terry, have you read the web serial Sunflower?
I have not.
What is that? Do you have any idea?
I don't.
No.
Not even sure what genre it is.
It sounds very sunflower. It sounds like a Japanese kind of thing. I don't know why. It's always flowers. What is it with flowers? Why don't you know things, Terry?
I don't know anything about this one, I'm afraid.
So what are the genres that what are these other stories you're reading on the serials? What are they?
They are all lit RPG.
Okay.
Well, actually, no. 2 of them are lit RPG. What is the last one? No, they're all lit RPG. 2 of them, one of them doesn't involve a character from our world. It's a character that's in that world, sort of. Maybe it's all. Yeah. It's hard to say.
Huh.
Sometimes it's a little confusing, but my personal reading has almost exclusively been lit RPG for like 5 years now. I can't seem to get enough of this shit. What can I say?
Yeah, you are definitely that is definitely your preferred genre at this time.
Yeah, the weird thing is that I don't write it. I would have loved to keep writing the serial that I was writing for Kindle Vella, but it wasn't selling anything. So, the mortgage insisted that I go back to writing the space opera that I love. But it was fun.
If you're going to pull it off of Vella and actually publish it as a book,
I'd have to finish it first.
How much more do you have to finish to go to finish?
I figure I've written about 70,000 words in it. So I'm probably about 3/4 of the way through ending a first novel's worth of stuff in there. But I haven't gotten there, and I can't spend the time doing it right now. I don't have the time.
Yeah, I would definitely not let that one forget about that one, though. It does sound like something that should be finished, if nothing else, so it's another book you can put out there.
It's true. And one of these days I will, just not today.
Yeah, I know, not today. Oh, yes. Nothing like writing the answers to conversations that you didn't give because you thought of it 15 seconds too late.
As a writer, I can fix that in edit.
Yes. But you have those moments where something happens and you're like, damn, if only I thought of something witty. And then like an hour later, you're like, oh, if I'd said that, that would have been awesome. So now you have to write a scene where you can make yourself look good, or maybe that you want to just capture that moment.
I'm lucky that my mouth usually says something pretty obnoxious anytime that comes around.
No, really?
I know, right?
I don't believe it.
There's been a few times where I've missed the opportunity, but most times I get something in.
I don't believe it. I absolutely.
And it doesn't even have to involve sock puppets.
Are they crusty sock puppets? That was the question we had earlier.
That'd be a great title. That should be a great title for an anthology that everybody writes about JR, Krusty Sock Puppets.
Oh, God. Oh, no, Terry. Why? Stop that shit. All right, what else do you people have? Terry and I know it's hard to believe, but we seem to be running out of steam here.
I'm just having fun with the conversation where it is.
I don't believe it. A Bayonet Books anthology. Oh, my God.
You could get Krusty the Clown on the cover.
No, you can't.
Photoshop, some socks on his hands.
No. I'm going to suggest no. That's what I'm going to suggest. I'm just saying maybe that's not the best option. I could be wrong about that, but maybe, I just want to do that. All righty. Have I picked my next project?
No, we were trying to pick his project for him, but then he ran off to go ahead and let the dog out, and we never finished. You guys didn't suggest what he should write. You are so good, Paul. You distracted us at a key moment when everybody was supposed to be suggesting your next project. You managed to go ahead and side rail the conversation. So,
I already have my next project. I have like 3 or 4 of them.
No, we want to have something that that we think will sell, not you.
Ooh, wow. Damn.
So, we're going to go ahead and decide for you what we think you should write.
Oh, that's how this is going to work. Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
You don't have to actually do it or anything, but
I want to hear. All right,
I want to hear what they have to bring it for you.
Bring it. Station 3 is finished in the feed. What's coming? Oh, in the Patreon feed? Is that what you mean? Hasn't finished on the public feeds. I will begin narrating Extinction when I finally write the beginning. We're not anywhere close to writing the beginning yet. This is a book I think I'm going to have to completely finish before I'm going to have to finish the end of it before I go write the beginning of it. And if you read it and it works out the way I think, then you'll understand why I did it the way I did it. But it is, I need some time to get my house in order before I start saying a goddamn thing into the microphone. Because writing Oceania as a serial was possible because it was very, very linear. This is not linear. This story is not linear at all. It's multiple settings and a shit ton of characters. So it just takes a lot more strategery, if you know what I mean. Something for Paul to consume? What? Nah. Opening up Pandora's suggestion. I'm still not seeing any suggestions here.
Maybe they don't know what you should write.
Maybe they got no clue. I do want to write another EET book. I do want to write another one of those. Station 3's sales have been okay. Not great, but okay, I guess. Unfortunately. What will it take to get you two to shave off the beards and stash?
Well, I would say JR posting a web video of him in lingerie doing something unspeakable, but then he'd probably do it, and then there would be having to live with created that.
Okay. Yeah. No. I look 5 without my beard and mustache, and I don't like looking 5 like I'm 5 with gray hair. It's just not a good look. So I will be keeping my beard and stash. Thank you very much. Characters keep failing to stop the apocalypse. Oh my God. That was too funny. Oh God, it's so hopeless. I don't understand this relationship you have with some of our listeners. I don't quite understand it. I don't know why it gets so abusive and it's so unhealthy, and yet it keeps happening.
The thing is, if you ask JR, he's not going to say it's unhealthy at all.
I know. That's
it's
the way
people. It's the way people in the Army treat each other. It seriously is.
Matt says, my granddad was a combat engineer in WW1, and he was a writer later in life. Some of the stories that turned out to be true were incredible. The funeral was a real eye-opener. Oh, yeah, I'll bet.
Especially when 14 families showed up, and you're like, uh-oh, uh-oh.
World War II, not World War I. Yeah, I wondered about that. Wow, there you go. Before I do this, let's invest in eye bleach or we'll be rich. I can just see the content warning on YouTube.
We should go ahead and we could do it and then have these gratuitous little black bars over portions of his body, even though they're not required.
It's all blacked out except for like one single strip of skin. Otherwise, just don't.
And we could make them like move in ways that are not,
yeah.
just add things to it to make it look even worse than it already is.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. That was just too damn funny. I love the idea of combat engineers. This is such a fun, such a fun occupation to deal with from a writing standpoint. Especially put it in sci-fi because of all the stupid shit that they must have to be able to fix and do and everything else. And then, oh yeah, and they're also supposed to be running around with weapons. It's a good mix of crazy. Just redact the bits that you can't work out. Yeah. Yeah, you do have a thing for time loops, don't you? The Perfect Run trilogy? I'm not familiar with this. Have you heard of this, Terry?
No, I have not.
Interesting. There are a lot of things I'll need to check into. A few 100 pounds. Yeah, all I have to do is get up and you can see my huge wide ass.
Camera. Like in Spaceballs. Why didn't somebody tell me my ass was this big?
I love that movie. I haven't seen it in a long time, but God, it's so good. I'm your uncle's cousin's nephew's second roommate. What does that make us? Nothing. Oh my God.
You hear that he ran it past the Star Wars creator to ask if he could go ahead and,
Lucas.
and do. You remember what the only restriction was?
No.
That he couldn't have the character dressed like Han Solo. So instead, he dressed him like Indiana Jones.
Oh, is that why?
That is.
I did not know that.
I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, the combing the desert thing. Oh, there's so many just bad. Mel Brooks, yeah. One of a kind. The world will truly weep when he finally kicks the bucket. Yeah, it's going to be bad news. Well, I got more books to check out now. Looks like. I don't know, Terry. When are you going to write a horror book?
The first of never.
First of never.
I can't commit to that. I can't commit to writing a horror. I have trouble even imagining writing a horror short story. I tried and it turned into the beginning of a paranormal romance.
It's so hopeless. And yet it's so you.
That short story never actually did see the light of day.
That's unfortunate.
I don't know what happened to it.
That's probably hanging around your dead letter file somewhere.
Well, it is, but it was for something. It was for an anthology that I don't think actually happened. So now it's just sitting in my short stories folder. I tried to make it darker, but probably did not succeed as well as I would have hoped. You know, it probably didn't help that I was writing it while listening to the Pirates of the Caribbean soundtrack.
No, that probably didn't help at all. You should have been listening to Final or Yenpox or somebody like that. I like Final. That's good shit too. Good writing stuff. Good stuff for writing. Oh, here we go. What is horror but just making your readers scared for your characters? Your characters will be unaware of anything, but the audience sees the time bomb under the chair. That's suspense.
That's is suspense.
Horror. That's suspense. Different.
Horror is a weird kind of icky.
As Brent said after reading Station 3, he was like, "Oh, it was a really gory book." And I was like, "What are you talking about? There wasn't that much gore in there." And he looks at me and goes, "Paul, there were squishies on every fucking page for like 20 pages. You were talking about how squishy everything was." I was like, "Oh, well, I guess it was kind of gory." Yeah, it's fucking hilarious. You can get the squeamish people. All sorts of blends. Yeah. Oh, God. Here we go. Do you consider zombies as horror or suspense then? Zombies are
These
horror.
days, I don't consider them as either.
Yeah, this is true.
They're completely worn out. Maybe The Walking Dead has them as horror.
I think that it depends on the zombie, but typically I would say zombie stories are horror stories. Typically.
Did you see the movie where the zombie developed intelligence?
Yes, I did actually. I remember that. I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, it was actually a decent flick. The Girl with All the Gifts is a fantastic book and film. If you've not seen that, that is not typical zombie fare, but it is in a way. It is a fantastic book, and the sequel's good too. But the movie is just amazing. Amazing's really good.
So, World War Z.
Book or movie?
Movie.
It's sci-fi horror. I think. That's what I would consider it.
John Ringo's universe.
I would say that's action adventure horror. It's got a lot of horrific scenes in it. Oh, really? They made it on graphic novels?
One graphic novel, at least. I went ahead and backed the Kickstarter.
Oh, gotcha. Fast or slow zombies? Zombies are slow. Fast or infected? They're not zombies. They're infected. Different things. But if you go look at the history of the zombie, none of this shit makes any goddamn sense the way it's taken off in our culture. And there's actually a really interesting documentary about that, on Shudder. They have like stories about how movies were made and things that happen, bad things that happen, cursed sets and all this other kind of stuff. And they made a big deal about Serpent and the Rainbow and talking about the history of zombies in American film and etc. And it was really interesting because we don't really understand, or we don't really pay any homage to where the idea of the zombie came from. We just now have it as, they eat your brains and all this stuff, which didn't exist until Return of the Living Dead, maybe the first one, second one, I can't remember, where they were eating all the brains, because the first one they didn't eat brains, and they didn't do that shit either. So it's just like some kind of phenomenon that took off, and then everybody now associates when you think zombies, that's what they associate with, brains and walking fast, all sorts of stupid shit.
I think I prefer like the slow shamblers in Walking Dead.
Walkers.
The threat they propose that they are in that story is something to be avoided if you can. Whereas if it's a fast zombie thing, it's chasing you down.
Right. Yeah, it's different style of story. It's a lot more difficult to have a civilization when the zombies, anytime you do anything, are running straight at you.
World War Z, hard to see humanity surviving. Walking Dead, Other than some of the hidden time bombs in the series. Yeah.
Nuclear reactors going boom because nobody's watching them, shit like that.
No, are you familiar with the Walking Dead storyline at all?
Yeah, more or less.
Everyone is infected.
Mm-hmm.
When
Everybody,
you die,
whole world.
When you die, you turn into one. Doesn't matter how you die, whether you're bit, you're not bit. All it requires is your death. So it's the end of the world in slow motion.
Yeah, there is zombie fungus too. There's several different things, parasites and everything that attack certain crustaceans, and wasps do it too to insects. Basically, turn them into zombies, if you want to call it that way. Basically, they have control over the insect and ultimately kill them in the process. Okay, I'm missing something here. Do you know a possum was the last thing to die on the Nostromo from Alien? Turns out the model was left in someone's yard and some possums took residence. Huh?
The movie model. So
model.
They took the model that was used in the movie. Somebody had it stored in their yard. A possum climbed into it and died in it. So the possum is actually the last thing that died in the
Nostromo. Oh, okay. All right. I got it. That is daft. Brains are overrated. Brains are delicious. Corpses inside the model. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Oh man. It's a weird world, dude. It's a weird world. Speaking of weird worlds, we should probably bring this to a close.
I think you're right, because we've devolved to possums.
We have, well, I mean, doesn't everybody devolve to possums? Doesn't it just the way things happen?
You should tell a post-apocalyptic story from the point of view of a possum.
No. Well, we're going to bring this to a close. If you have a comment, question regarding this episode or anything in general that is related to the show, please don't ask me where babies come from. I will just send you a let me Google that for you link. You can send an email to show@deadrobotsociety.com. You can tweet me at Paul_E_Cooley. You can find me on Mastodon at Paul E. Cooley at Mastodon.social. God, it's so awkward to say. You can find Terry at listeners the Facebook. I'm having real problems today. You can find us on Facebook at the Listeners of the Dead Robot Society Facebook group, where Terry wrangles all the madness. Yeah, I am really just not doing well today. You can find us at YouTube at youtube.com/DRS podcast to see our ugly mugs and too damn many cats. So we have to thank our wonderful host, Podhoster, for making all 14 bazillion episodes of the Dead Robot Society available for your ear holes. And if you would like to support the show, you can find us at patreon.com/DRS podcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive content, exclusive live shows, and other utter madness. And at the $10 level, you get your name read. And our $10 patrons are Tony L. Joy, Andrew Smallwood, Veronica Jaguar, Rick Shaw, Lisa Slack, and Isabel Cushy. Thank you to all of our patrons for making this show possible. Now, there's only one more thing we got to do. At least one of the hosts was great. Oh, damn. My apologies for my brain today. It is not functioning well at all. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, that's right. Because I obviously have not had enough, and that's part of the problem. Terry and I are caffeine junkies, and we get our caffeine exclusively from corpsecoffee.com. Visit corpsecoffee.com, check out their range of boutique teas, selection of coffees, and their wonderfully weird webcomic, and tell them DRS sent you. Visit corpsecoffee.com and get the dead in your cup. And with that, we are going to get out of here. Y'all have a great week, and we'll see you next month in the public live show.
And next week at some point along.
Yeah, just something like that anyway. Yeah. Have a great, wonderful Saturday, and thanks for coming, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Or something.